Welcome to the Own Your Best Life podcast. I'm May Emson, your host, leadership and mindset coach. Here, we talk all things spiritual, mindset, business, leadership, and wellness for the modern seeker who wants to align their life with purpose and inspiration. We'll cover career changes, stress management, meditation, energy, intuition, and more. Each episode holds spiritual and practical tools to help you live a life of your wildest dreams without getting burnt out along the way. Ready to live a life on your own terms? This is the Own Your Best Life podcast. Welcome, friends, to episode number 71 of the Own Your Best Life podcast. So time is one of our most precious assets and resources, and the more we are connected through technology, the easier it becomes to feel like our time gets consumed through work and the ability to always be doing something. So today we are going to talk about some of the foundational principles of creating more time in your life. We are often so time-starved that we don't do what would help us. And one of the topics that come up the most often during coaching is time management. Why is that? Because we value our time. We value how we spend our time, what do we do with our time, who we spend our time with, and the quality of presence and how fully engaged we are in the moment when we do have the time. And while I won't be going into a full-out coaching session over your time, we will discuss 3 ways to create more time in your life. And that is eliminate, automate, and delegate. So let's talk about eliminate. This is one of the first principles that we will start with. Again, some of these sound very simple, but it is often the simplest things that we do not do. And so we are going to get rigorous. We're going to really extract more time out of your life so that you get to live with a lot more time freedom. And the first thing to do is to think about what has to be done and whether it will actually help you towards having the results you want in your life. Many of us do this automatically, but it is still helpful to ask this question about each activity or task that's in our life, especially if you have a tendency to want to please other people. And this is something that's fairly easy to do when you don't have a ton on your plate, but as demand for your time grows, whether it's through additional responsibilities or commitments in your life, you will have to start being a lot more discerning about what gets in our life. And so the question to ask is this: does doing this align with my vision or goal? So whether it is a project or an engagement or an activity that is new or already currently in your life, it is helpful to ask ourselves whether our time is spent well in the process of doing this. It doesn't mean that we are hypercritical, we eliminate fun from our life, and it's actually the contrary. It's the opposite. We are looking to align our activities with your purpose and the results you want to see in your life. So the other day, I was considering training for a longer distance triathlon. And many of you know that about a year ago, I started running a lot more consistently again, and I'm working with a coach, and the results have been tremendous. And one of the things I wanted to do was to start adding in other activities as well, because I want to maintain my running, but not overdo it also. And so the vision for my physical health, this is the example, right, that I'm going to share with you, is that I'm an example of what's possible and that I challenge myself in fun and interesting ways, that I exercise every day, that I'm in top physical shape. And none of that, when you listen to it, includes exactly how I do it. So our visions may remain the same, but we need to adapt to our context. Right now, my context, my circumstance, what is present in my life is that I have lots of other results I want to achieve in my personal and professional life. And my goal is to achieve this vision of my physical health and my fitness with the least amount of time. I care about my kids. I care about my family. I care about being a good partner. And I care about doing the work that I want to do in the world as well as enjoy my life. So I decided to train for a shorter distance triathlon, so a sprint distance one. And so it still lets me focus on building strength across a variety of disciplines so I don't wear one thing out. It still encourages me to start things that I haven't done in a long time, like swimming. I actually had to take my bike out of storage and get it tuned up for the first time in 10 years. So all of these things are newer and they're interesting and they're engaging and they keep me in shape and it keeps me mentally very motivated and curious and challenged because these are always different things that I'm doing. So the plateau isn't happening even though it's a shorter distance. And I could have easily gone with ego or hubris thinking, I have to do something long or meaningful. But what I realize is when I start to ask myself the question of how it aligns with my vision or my goal, I actually was able to come to a place where I felt really good about doing a shorter distance triathlon. And if I just stuck to thinking that I had to do this, that I already thought that the Olympic distance triathlon was the way to go, I wouldn't have asked myself that question. How does this align with my goal? Or what does alignment even mean? But once I asked myself that question, I remember that the way I get there is up to me and the way that you get to your visions is up to you. For me, a longer distance triathlon isn't necessarily the best way for me to get there if I want this to be a consistent practice in my life right now. Longer distance training takes more time. And right now, I want to spend my time doing other things. And so when you think about that scope of the thing that you're about to tackle and the activity itself, you can ask yourself this: can this be eliminated or reduced or simplified while still allowing me to achieve my vision? If you say yes, then we eliminate or reduce. No one is giving you a reward for doing the most. You get results in your life, and that's what you're looking for. How you get there is completely up to you. And this is the whole idea of how do we not work harder, but work smarter. And what happens when you keep doing that and you really start to discern and have this critical way of thinking about what's in your life and what's not, and the choices that you're making, you begin to get left with the vital few versus the trivial many. And this is the idea that we can just have all these things and activities that we do in our life. But movement is very different from achievement. Just because you're doing things and you're busy does not mean that you are actually moving towards the thing that you want. So be ruthless about what you say yes to when you ask the question, does this align with my goal? And if the answer is yes, then we can start thinking about this next question, which is this: can this be automated? So again, automation is when we see that something is done repetitively and we find a way to have it done through a system or a process. And this is that second way of finding more time. And the question you want to ask here is the following: where can I streamline this process or limit distractions so I can spend time on what matters instead? Where can I streamline this process or limit distractions so I can spend time on what matters instead? And this is where technology can actually work for us so that things happen without our intervention while we're sleeping or doing other things. This takes time to set up, but the investment of time up front is well worth all the time saved daily. The categories of things that you can automate include some of the following. There are many, many more. For example, email. You can set up out of office when you're out of office as a way to automate the many responses that you could be sending back saying, I'll get back to you later. You can create rules in your email so that junk or low value email goes to a folder that you can easily delete or read later. There are ways in which you can really navigate through the system. You can Google all of these kinds of hacks and in 15, 20, 30 minutes, you'll spend a little bit of time, but get a lot of things done in terms of automating your email in a way that works for you. This is one simple example that I've done, which is I've instituted a rule where all my emails will only be sent after a 2-minute delay, which has saved me a ton of time when I need to course correct after I realize maybe there was a mistake or a change that needed to be made. And if you're someone who sends lots of emails in the course of your day, you'll realize that that could be a lifesaver, not for every email, but for the ones that matter, those 2 minutes made a huge difference. So another example of using email is having things sent to your email instead of you searching. So you can have the news sent to you instead of you searching the news and trolling all these websites. I use Daily Skim. There are other ones out there, I'm sure, but that's the one that I use, and I just get a short synopsis of all the things that are going on throughout the day. And of course, if I want to spend my time reading the news in more ways and watching it, then I can go find it myself. All right, the second example and category of things to automate include your finances. Use technology to help you do things like paying your bills or saving or investing. And what this means, and I think this is really helpful for us, is that we have to set up a structure of timing, of accounts from which to pay, save, or invest. So this is one of the ways you can build wealth. I always think of it this way. Money likes to know where it needs to go. So when you set up accounts for it to go to, when you have a plan in place, you can automatically do things like save a certain amount of income so that you never realize that it was yours to spend and you pay yourself first. And that's one of the simplest but biggest personal finance principles for building wealth. Another category is backing up your files, thinking about how do we automate how things are saved or backed up so that there's just another place where we can go in case we lose our work on our computers or on our phones. Again, these are things that you probably have thought about, but what we're doing here is finding these small improvements that you may not be doing, but you know to do. And hopefully this gives you an inspiration to move forward and actually do that thing. So the next category is work automation. And this is going to differ based on the kind of work that you do. But think about all the things that you do really consistently in your work. And you can ask yourself this question: is there a way for this to be done once instead of every day or every week or every month? Even if you batch the creation of the work that you do and you find focused time to limit the distractions so that you know what you're going to do and when you're going to do it and how you're going to do it, that also is that ability to automate. And you can then automate what gets shared. And when you start thinking about batching the creation of the work and automating what gets shared and to who and to what and when, you're going to start to reduce that daily work. And this is where we do need to be a bit creative. We need to think through our tasks with a more strategic lens. If you're always doing the same thing over and over, can you record it? And can you share it out somewhere so that you don't have to do this thing over and over again? It's this idea of how do we leverage something we do once many times over. And this other category that you can also automate is your diet, the food that you eat. We don't always make the best decisions for ourselves about what to eat in the moment of choice. And this is why having plans and decisions made ahead of time for what you eat actually works really well in terms of having food freedom and achieving all of your health goals. So you can automate what you eat by deciding once in a while what kind of food you want to eat and how much, and then having a plan or a meal delivery service ship it to you every week so that you're not making decisions all of the time. So it's this idea of the one decision that eliminates thousands of decisions. Okay, now let's talk about that third way to create more time, which is to delegate. Delegate is when we think about this one question: who else can do this? And what will I gain as a result of investing into having someone else do this? So we often get stuck in this idea of delegating a task or an activity because we're too caught up in this cycle of our daily work, and we think that we don't have the time and we don't have the money to invest in delegating. Raise your hand if you have these thoughts. It will take longer to have someone else to do it. They won't do it as well as I will. And you're like, yes, May, those things are true. And those things may all be true, but the real question is, what will you gain as a result? This applies to parenting. This applies to so many things, and we don't even realize in the moment that that is what we are doing. We are not letting someone else share in the work because we're worried that it won't get done well and that it will take longer. So the real key here is to remember that this is an investment. It's an investment back into your business, your work, your personal life. And if it's someone on your team or off your team that you're delegating to, it's also an investment into their development as well. It's not about dumping work onto someone else that you just don't want to do. So ask yourself, what are the things you should spend your time doing? This will give you an idea of why you want to delegate and why you must delegate. Everything else can either be eliminated, automated, or delegated. Think about, how can I actually do the elimination, the simplification, the automation before you delegate? Otherwise, you're going to waste your or someone else's resources. A few ideas for what to delegate include the following. So think first about tasks that other people can do and be the expert. So things like customer service, administrative tasks, organization, logistics, functional roles like finance, HR, training, marketing, product development, sales, the list goes on. You may not be comfortable with letting someone else work on your business or in your life, but this is the discomfort that comes with letting go. And we cannot do what is most important and what matters most if we don't have the time to actually do it. The next category to think about when you're thinking of delegating is the areas of cleaning and cooking. So you might really enjoy this and want to do this, and this is not what I'm talking about. This is the idea that you are time starved and you're trying to figure it all out and you've got lots of demands. So, and you don't want to clean and cook. So if you can invest in hiring people to help you clean or cook, whether it's partially or completely, you will save time and you could possibly even save money. And I say save money because, for example, for any of these things, you can actually create a budget for what you want to invest into these activities and stick to it. You can also utilize other family members so that the responsibilities aren't all on you to do everything. Partner, spouses, kids, they're all fair game. Anyone in your household when it comes to delegating and sharing in these household chores. Again, this isn't about your laziness. It's about creating more time. So you are not going to be making messes expecting other people to clean it up. But we all just know that it takes work and it takes time to do the laundry, to clean the bathrooms, to sweep, to mop, to make meals, to clean the kitchen. The list goes on. All right, I think you got it there with the cleaning and cooking. But let's move to the next category of things to delegate, and that's shopping. So whether you're shopping for your business or your personal life, you can delegate shopping. E-commerce gets your items delivered without a trip to the store. That's always an option for you. You can also have someone like an assistant or someone who's an expert in their area, like a stylist or an interior designer, actually do the purchasing for you. They probably know how to search and find the thing faster and quicker than you. So shopping, although for some of us might be the joy and we love shopping, for many of us, we're wondering, why are we doing this? I wish we didn't have to. And so someone else can help you, or you can at least let technology help you get some of this part done, like reducing the trip to the store. Okay, so let's talk about the next category, which is household repairs. If you are not the person that can do all the things yourself in a home or wants to do all the things yourself in a home, you can let others figure it out and do it for you. And I'm not saying you abdicate responsibility for understanding how things work, and that applies to all of these topics around delegation. But often we spend lots of time and we feel really resentful trying to do something in our homes or elsewhere ourselves. And instead of asking an expert and paying for their time and resources to get the job done well, we try to take it on ourselves. So if you're happy to do this and it brings you joy and it aligns with your vision, then go ahead and do all the things. My dad was very equipped and he loved to do all these household repairs, the car repairs himself. He even taught us how to do a lot of them as well. One of them was changing our own oil. But when I couldn't change my own oil because I didn't have a jack or an oil pan at my place in Baltimore one year, and this was many moons ago after I graduated college, I realized that it was time to go seek professional help. Many of us have hobbies around the home that we enjoy, but the difference is knowing what we need or want to do and what we really don't need, nor do we want to do. And so this is the point for you to actually think through. If I want to spend my time doing all of these things that I said is the stuff that I really want to do to live the life that I want to have the results that I need to have in my life, to have the vision actually come to fruition, then something has to go. Something has to go. And so you can go through this list and see how you might find more time in some of these items, or maybe it sparks some other ideas for you. And so this exercise in eliminating, in automating, in delegating is just that. It's an exercise, which means as life changes, we can do this process over and over again. And I like to do this process each week as I look forward to what are the most important things that have to be done. And it can naturally come up when I see that I have a vital few versus a trivial many. And I start to realize, wow, this is why I have a vital few. This is why I get more things done than I did in the past. It's because of this focus on what is actually going to move the needle, what is actually going to leave an impact, what is actually the thing that matters the most right now. And when you see that, it is simpler to stay focused, and it's simpler then to stay in this place where you are not overwhelmed. And when I do start to see things popping up, I see the trivial many start to pop up and begin to create obstacles for my time, I ask myself these 3 questions. Number 1, does this align with my vision or goal? This is around the idea of eliminating or simplifying or reducing. Number 2, where can I streamline this process or limit distractions so I can spend time on what matters instead? This is around the automation, the automating. Number 3, who else can do this and what will I gain as a result of investing into having someone else do this? And this, again, is around the topic of delegating. So this is a good exercise for you to do when you are starting to feel really overwhelmed and frantic and panicked about time. Take a deep breath, come back to this, save this podcast episode, and you will for sure find pockets of time that feel like you cannot move it at all. But the thing is, if you can't find the time, that means you must find the time. The people who need this exercise most are the people who are least willing to take the time to do it. So if you are resisting this because you're like, I don't have time to go train someone, I don't have time to go find someone to do this, I don't have time to go reach out and figure out who else can do this, I don't have time to think through this topic, then you need it the most. And if this topic resonates with you, and you want to see transformational results in your life, in the way you manage your time, in your quality of presence in your day-to-day, you will love coaching. Getting coached consistently is the spark that lights that fire of inspiration to make the change you're looking to make. When you get coaching on your time, you can't go back. You start to see things and you can't unsee them. You start to realize, wow, why am I doing this? It is the first step in creating clarity, in making massive shifts and beginning to move all those obstacles out of your way so that you can move forward. So if you want to learn more, you can go to www.mayemson.com/contact to set up a consult. I love you, my friends. I hope you find some amazing time for you and your loved ones and the things you love to do this week. And I will see you next time. Thanks so much for joining us this week on Own Your Best Life. Make sure to subscribe to the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts so that you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, can you please rate and review on iTunes? I would so appreciate it. Share it with a friend, take a screenshot of it, and tag @MayEmson. This helps continue to get the word out. For more show notes and resources, check out www.mayemson.com. You'll have all the links to everything you heard here today. Thanks so much for listening. It's time to own your best life.